For the 10 plus years that I've been on YouTube, I've consistently been hit with the same criticism over and over again. I'm too negative, I'm too nitpicky, I only ever talk about abuse, I only ever talk about the bad in horse sports, and that I'm the problem with horse sports for speaking out about horse welfare. But the truth of the matter is, all of the people who want to push horse abuse under the rug and not address the elephant in the room, the major underlying issues within every sector of equestrianism, those are the people that are destroying the horse sports. Those are the people who are going to cause the majority of horse sports, if not all, to be shut down permanently and potentially even removed from the Olympics. This is why change has to happen.
They need a good licking sometimes.
But hey guys, welcome back. I know it's been a very long time. I have taken the entire year of 2024 off of riding to really focus on building a better relationship with my horses and helping you guys build a better relationship with yours. I'm going to be posting and have been posting videos of 3-part series on trick training. We're going to be teaching my horses and yours one new trick every single month of this year. So if you guys would like to improve your relationships with your horses and also learn a little bit more about training them, definitely head on over to Patreon. It's going to be in the description down below. Also, I want to say a massive thank you to this video's sponsor, a company that I'm also a brand ambassador for, which is Animal Nutrition Calculator. If you guys are unfamiliar, Animal Nutrition Calculator calculates all of your animal's nutritional needs and requirements. And for animals that are more exotic, it'll even show you in the descriptions of these calculators, after calculating your animal's nutritional info, how to tailor diets specifically for those animals and what foods you can, or sometimes even can't feed. All of these nutrition calculators are just $4.99. They're super useful and I highly recommend them. I use them for my own personal animals. It is just the absolute best. So you guys can use my code LINK25 for 25% off your purchase if you guys click the link down below. So a big thank you to Animal Nutrition Calculator for sponsoring today's video. Let's get to it.
Good man. You stop it.
Over the last few years, there's been a huge uptake in reporting of horse abuse throughout the entire industry. Now, this is not because abuse is becoming worse. Abuse has always been a systemic problem within the equestrian industry. For hundreds of years, people have been taught over and over again that certain types of abuse is just general practice for horseback riding. Therefore, it's become normalized within even teaching children how to ride.
Reach back and use your stick. One. Now put her in front of it and spank. Stick.
We all remember the old 60-year-old trainer we had who yelled and screamed at us, told us to whip our horses or kick our horses or pull on their mouth or show them who's boss. We've all had trainers like that. That's what we call systemic abuse. It is abuse that is perpetuated generation after generation and has therefore become normalized as part of the sport and as part of riding practices. This is habitual. This is something that has to be broken within all equestrian sports. People have to let go of the idea of what they thought was the right way to ride and treat horses, analyze welfare studies and more humane ways of training and riding, to then come to new conclusions on how to go about bettering the ethical riding and treatment of horses. Now, I could go on and on and on about the myriad of abuse that has been swept under the rug by multiple organizations and by the riders that have perpetrated it. But let's make this brief, shall we? The Denis Lynch case in 2008, who's an Irish rider who was subsequently banned for using illegal substances on his horse during competition. Absolutely no action was taken against Patrick Kittel for the blue tongue roll-cur incident during warm-up. Devin Ryan's suspension in 2015, who was suspended for only 6 months after marks were found on the legs of 5 of his horses under his care. Abdul Rahman, who was a UAE endurance rider, found guilty of horse abuse and banned for only 12 months. Bernard Mayer was famously only suspended for 3 months by the FEI for his horrendous riding. Sarah Dirickx, her horse tested positive for multiple illegal substances, and the positive tests were attributed to a accidental contamination. Famously again, Kevin Lemke was only given a 4-month pathetic suspension by FEI for excessively beating his horse. In 2017, we had a top 20 national reining horse professional who was implicated in a horse abuse case at a show. Most notably, we had the Sir Mark Todd incident that I covered in 2022, who was suspended after a video surfaced of him hitting a horse. Keyword here is suspended. We had Andrew Kocher's suspension in 2022 for using electric spurs on horses. And of course, we have the most notable case of 2023, which was the Helgstrand dressage incident. And if you were curious, no, FEI still has not done a single thing about it, other than give this incredibly pathetic statement. Hilariously, as I was editing this video, Dr. Cesar Parra was exposed for beating horses in training and using roll-cur. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There are so many more notable cases of horse abuse. This video would be 20 hours long if I sat here reading every single thing I dug up from the last 50 years. But I want to showcase the most recent notable horse abuse that most of you guys would know to let you know that most of these people are still competing at a pro level. I love how Western sports are even worse about pushing abuse under the rug, to the point where most Western sports don't even report abuse. Again, like I said, this is only the tip of the iceberg. There are so many cases of horse abuse that go unreported. This is everywhere. This is in every single equestrian sport, mostly perpetuated by riders at a pro level and trainers at a pro level. That's why organizations like USCF, NRHA, FEI, it literally takes pulling their teeth out by public outcry for any of these organizations to even give a statement. Furthermore, I don't think I have to spend the next 20 years of my life explaining to all of the dum-dums of the world who continuously abuse animals why abusing horses is wrong, because there are so many studies out there that are readily available for everybody to read. Abuse is something that is severely damaging to horses, not just physically, but mentally as well. But again, I encourage everybody to be free thinkers of their own and go and do your own research. This is unfortunately the equestrian culture. It is a culture of abuse. It is abuse that is taught from generation of horseback riders to generation of new horseback riders. You can look at these videos and say, wow, I can't believe that these riders would treat horses this way. But the truth of the matter is, that's how we were all taught to treat horses from a very young age. Heck, there's even trainers still to this day who consistently teach and train riders with fundamentally flawed and abusive training practices. Take the Katie Prudent situation, posted by USCF themselves on their website.
Okay, look at me, Carly, when I'm talking to you. Carly, look at me. I don't want to look over and see you being jerked forward like you're a little weakling. Now, I have this thing with my stick, and I call it smacking back. smacking back. When a horse does a disobedience, the reason we have the stick is to use it correctly. And horses need it. They need it. All this, animal rights activists who know nothing about training horses, they need a good licking sometimes.
They need a good licking sometimes. Let that set in, that this woman was once a pro rider, that this video was published by USCF themselves just a couple weeks ago, signed off with their seal of approval, that this is an appropriate message to be sending to new riders. What's even more hilarious, USCF took down this video when they saw it got backlash, and instead of providing any sort of apology or explanation, they edited the video to remove a lot of the very inflammatory and abusive parts. Then they re-uploaded the video, completely bypassing all of the criticism they received and essentially saying, we don't believe we did anything wrong and we're not going to admit to the contrary, not even providing anybody with an apology. People still, to this day, are taught to ride poorly, are taught to abuse horses in lessons, are taught that this is what horses need. And it is such a shame what we have done to horses. It is such a shame to see magnificent animals that have done absolutely nothing throughout history but help us as a human species. Now we just abuse them in our everyday competitions because we want a ribbon or we want a trophy or some prize money. That's what we have reduced horses to. Horses don't owe you anything. They are just animals. You would not expect that from your dog. You wouldn't expect that from your cat. They're not looked at that way because people are utilizing them for their own personal financial gain. They're essentially being used as pieces of machinery with no heart, no feelings, no emotions. I know everybody was outraged about the Katie Prudent case because that just came out a few weeks ago, but the truth of the matter is, she's just like every other riding instructor. There's nothing special about what she says. There's nothing overtly crazy about what she says that other riding instructors don't also say.
I personally would be flipping him over backwards. He wouldn't dare go around that corner with me.
This is habitual abuse, perpetrated at every single level. This is why I say time and time again that pro riders don't care about horses, because they don't. They become numb to witnessing horse abuse on a weekly, if not daily basis. Why do you think I said in my last video, every single pro rider either knows somebody who abuses horses or does it themselves? It's because that's true. All of this really boils down to a lack of implemented ethical practices in the horse world. And South Coast equine vet Natalie McGoldrick perfectly exemplifies this point. This woman is a professional equine veterinarian openly defending pro riders on her business Facebook page, actually stating that the constant trolling of these professionals who abuse horses, boring, repetitive, and unnecessary. And you know what? We don't even have to speculate as to why this veterinarian would stoop to such an unprofessional level. Oh yeah, it's because she rides in roll cur. So she thinks because she rides in roll cur, it can't possibly be abuse. Let's just totally ignore all of the other veterinary studies and data out there. But I just want to point out before I'm done roasting her that she literally violates her own code of conduct and ethics as a veterinarian. One of your top professional responsibilities is having a regard first to animal welfare. Year after year after year, riders are exposed for horse abuse, trainers are exposed for horse abuse, organizations are exposed for not calling out horse abuse or letting stuff slide behind the scenes. They know it goes on. USCF knows that it goes on. FEI knows that it goes on. Western organizations know that it goes on, but they don't care. For more than 10 years, I have been saying this, and I have repeatedly been hit with the same criticism over and over again. I'm just overly critical. I'm negative. I only call out horse abuse. I'm the problem with the horse sport. No, you're the problem with the horse sport. Every single person who believes that calling out horse abuse is a problem is themselves the problem, because you are normalizing abusive practices that will get your sport shut down. The one person on YouTube who actually cares about horse sports is me. Nobody else does deep dives into industries hoping the industries would change like I do. People repeatedly want to throw me under the bus, but yet time and time again, I'm right. Every single time I've called out someone or some industry, I have been consistently right. And that doesn't make me smart. It doesn't make me intuitive. It just means that I actually am aware of what's going on because I don't turn a blind eye. Every single horse sport will be shut down. They will be removed from the Olympics. Professional organizations will not tolerate this anymore, because what's going to happen if the horse world doesn't change? More riders are going to be exposed. More organizations like USCF and FEI are going to be exposed. More and more training organizations like Helgstrand are going to be exposed and infiltrated. Every organization that involved animals in an abusive way, most notably circuses, bullfighting, have been shut down for repeated systemic abuse practices, have been banned in multiple countries around the world for systemic abusive practices and animal welfare concerns. Quite often, I think people forget about Big Lick, which is about to be shut down for systemic horse abuse. Yeah, horses are on the chopping block. If the Helgstrand documentary wasn't an eye-opener for equestrians, I don't know what is. You think they're going to stop at Helgstrand? You think these independent welfare organizations that are starting to investigate horse abuse around every industry in the horse world, you think they're just going to stop at Helgstrand? No. If you're a professional rider or trainer, yeah, I'd be very concerned about having a bunch of undercover videographers at your facility, because it's going to happen. And you know what? They're going to find abuse. They're going to find abusive practices. It's not going to stop with Helgstrand. I actually can't even believe that horse racing is still around, given that it's notable that they kill thousands of horses a year. Governing bodies around the world are going to start implementing stricter policies. They're going to start doing mandatory welfare audits at multiple barns, training facilities. Eventually, there's going to be a ban on certain types of equipment, which most likely they're already working on. And quite frankly, I don't think that we should have horses in the Olympics. I don't think that horses should be able to be used at a professional level, because all of the people at a pro level just make everyone below them look bad. I hate to say this, but I think one day I'm going to look back on this video 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, and I will be right. If the horse world doesn't change, all equestrian sports at a pro level and potentially the Olympics will be shut down.